Everyone knows the Acropolis in Athens, the Parthenon, the temples, the postcard views. But here's the thing, most people only know the basics. Today, we're uncovering 10 surprising hidden stories about the Acropolis that will change the way you see it forever. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end, because the biggest secret is hiding in plain sight. Number 1. A medieval tower once stood there and then vanished. Imagine climbing the Acropolis in the 1800s. Instead of the pure marble ruins we know today, your eyes would first land on a massive medieval tower. Built by the Franks in the 13th century, it stood right by the Propylea and dominated the skyline. For centuries, it was a symbol of Western rule over Athens. But in 1874, Greek authorities demolished it in the name of restoring classical purity. Critics at the time called it an act of vandalism, erasing a whole chapter of Athenian history. And today, almost no visitor realizes a giant tower once stood on that very spot. Number 2. An olive tree myth with roots in the rocks. The myth goes that Athena and Poseidon competed to be Athens' patron god. Poseidon struck the ground with his trident, producing a saltwater spring. Athena planted the olive tree, a symbol of peace and prosperity. The citizens chose Athena, and the tree became sacred. Ancient sources like Herodotus describe it. Even more fascinating, travelers in antiquity claimed a real olive tree grew beside the Erechtheion, thought to be a descendant of the mythical one. After the Persians burned Athens in 480 BC, Herodotus says the sacred tree sprouted again the very next day, symbolizing resilience. Today, an olive tree still grows in that spot, planted in modern times but meant to honor the legend. Number 3. The Acropolis was a canvas, not a colorless stone. What we see today, bare white marble, is misleading. In antiquity, the Acropolis was bursting with color. Archaeological analysis has revealed traces of Egyptian blue, cinnabar red, and malachite green on statues and temple friezes. UV light and microscopic studies show intricate painted patterns on covered sculptures, including the Parthenon's famous pediments. Even the Parthenon's roof tiles were brightly colored terracotta. The modern white marble look comes from centuries of watering and later romantic ideals of Greece, not reality. To visitors of Pericles Athens, the Acropolis will have looked more like a dazzling open-air art gallery than a plain marble ruin. Number 4. A dramatic act of defiance during World War II. On May 30, 1941, just weeks after Nazi forces occupied Athens, 2 young students, Manolis Glezos and Apostolos Santas, climbed the Acropolis at night and tore down the swastika flag flying over the Parthenon. This was a dangerous act. The Acropolis was heavily guarded. Their success electrified occupied Europe, becoming one of the earliest public acts of resistance against Nazi rule. Both men were later arrested, imprisoned, and tortured. Yet they survived the war and became national heroes. Glezos even went on to a long political career, serving in the Greek parliament well into his 90s. Number 5. The 1687 explosion that nearly wiped everything out. For over 2,000 years, the Parthenon survived earthquakes, wars, and invasions. But in 1687, its luck ran out. The Ottomans were using it as a gunpowder magazine when Venetian forces besieged Athens. A single mortar shell landed inside, and the explosion was catastrophic. Roof beams shot into the air, flames engulfed the hilltop, and centuries of sculpture were obliterated in one night. One eyewitness wrote that the temple was turned into countless fragments. So when we look at the Parthenon today, we're seeing not just the work of the ancient builders, but also the scars of that explosion. Number 6. A hidden sanctuary to a local hero. At the southeastern corner of the Acropolis stood the sanctuary of Pandion, dedicated to a semi-mythical king of Athens. The remains are modest, mostly foundations, but inscriptions confirm sacrifices were offered there. The sanctuary is unusual because it honored a local hero rather than a god, showing that Athenians didn't only worship Olympian deities on the Acropolis. Pausanias, a 2nd century traveler, mentions it in his description of Greece. Though overshadowed by the Parthenon, its existence proves the Acropolis wasn't just about grand temples. It was also a place of smaller, personal cults tied to Athens' legendary past. Number 7. The Pelasgic Wall, a prehistoric foundation. Long before Pericles built his temples, the Acropolis was already fortified. The so-called Pelasgic Wall, dating to the late Bronze Age, 13th century BC, once surrounded the hilltop. Thucydides even mentions it, describing how Athenians called it the Pelargikon. Archaeology has revealed massive stone foundations near the Propylaea, evidence of this early defense system. Though later Athenians dismantled much of it, parts were left intact, and inscriptions warned against inhabiting the cursed area of the wall. This prehistoric fortification proves the Acropolis was already an important stronghold 1,000 years before the Parthenon. Number 8. A colorful and controversial statue unearthed nearby. In December 2024, construction workers digging a gas pipeline near the site struck something solid. What they uncovered stunned archaeologists. A life-size marble statue, thought to represent Hermes, dating back nearly 2,000 years. The statue was in remarkable condition, raising questions about whether it once decorated a wealthy Roman villa or public fountain. The find immediately halted construction and sparked a debate. Should it stay in the local neighborhood where it was found, or be moved to the Acropolis Museum? Either way, it's proof that ancient Athens is still just beneath the modern city surface. Number 9. A Persian Rider in full color. The Persian Rider, found on the Acropolis and dated to about 510-500 BC, is one of the earliest surviving equestrian statues in Greece. What makes it extraordinary is the preservation of its paint. Microscopic analysis has revealed patterned trousers in bright red and blue, a style associated with Persian or Scythian dress. This suggests the statue may depict a foreigner or symbolize Athenian victories over Eastern enemies. Today it's housed in the Acropolis Museum, where visitors can still see traces of the vivid designs. The rider challenges the old idea of dull, colorless antiquity, reminding us how lively Greek art once was. Number 10. Architectural tricks. Imperfectly perfect. The Parthenon looks mathematically flawless, but its perfection is an illusion created by precise distortions. The columns swell slightly at the middle, preventing the optical illusion of concavity. The stylobate curves gently upward at the center, so it appears straight to the eye. Even the columns tilt subtly inward, meaning they will theoretically meet miles above. These refinements required astonishing precision, with adjustments sometimes as small as a few millimeters. Modern engineers have studied these techniques and found them to be deliberate, not accidental. Far from rigid geometry, the Parthenon's beauty comes from controlled imperfection designed to fool the human eye. The Acropolis isn't just ancient ruins, but layer upon layer of history stacked on a single rocky hill. And as new discoveries prove, it still hasn't told us all its secrets. So, which of these stories surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey through hidden history, make sure to subscribe for more